young adult and just trying to figure out life right now? Well, I am 40, but I am a debt-free millionaire, and it took me 20 years to share some of the tips that I want to share with you today in this video. This is part 2 of an interview I did with my friend at Brownie Bites, and we answered questions like how much you should save for college, what you should do if you want to move out of your parents' house, and how you can become financially independent using social media. So if you want to learn more about financial freedom and you want to start early, check out this full video.
How can we utilize social media, YouTube, and Instagram as a means to become financially independent?
Whoa, that's a great question. I primarily like to use social media actually as accountability. And what I mean by that is I'm not really a big fan of, I actually don't follow a ton of people on social media. This is how Crush Your Money Goals started. So for those of you just joined, I am the founder of Crush Your Money Goals. I also wrote a book that's coming out this next week. And I'm a debt-free millionaire. So my net worth is $1.8 million and I have zero debt. When I first started out this journey, I had $300,000 of debt, including a shit ton of student loans. And I used social media as accountability, as in when I had $72,000 of student loans, what I did was I would post the pictures of my student loan debt on my social media, on my Instagram.
How long ago was that?
This was 2016, so this has been 8 years ago.
You did it before the trend, because do you see, it's a trend now where people's like whole accounts grow from them
just sharing.
I'm about to have to do that, but I'm like, I don't even have the money to pay it off. I'm about to call the people for my student loans and be like, can you pause it, please?
But I think that's the point, right? It's just, even if you don't have the money, whatever, something about posting it on social media and telling people that you're doing it forces your hand.
Yeah.
So when I had $72,000 of student loans, I just wrote the amount on a Post-it, and then I would show a picture of it on social media. And even if I paid $2 towards it, I was like, ooh, yay, new Post-it. And so I'd write like a new Post-it and put it on social media. And so I think social media is actually a really great way, finding 2 or 3 people that actually reflect the life that you are interested in, that can be facilitated by your financial goals, is a great way to do it. If you're going to take money advice from anyone, then you should know whether or not they have money.
And they should be truthful, because a lot of people can just rent or post whatever and they could not have the money, or they could be in like serious credit card debt over it. So don't try to keep up with the Joneses. And then also with social media, there's so many ways to make money off of it. You could be a UGC creator where you don't even have to post on your own channel. You could be like Bernadette, where she uses social media to be accountable, and then you have your own business and that leads to leads. You can be a hybrid of both, where you could be a creator like Megan that joined earlier. She has her own template that she sells, like her own digital products, but she also gets brand partnerships, right? So it's just about finding what you want to post about and then going all in on that. Just post, just do what you want and just document it. Like for me personally, what works for me is about talking about moving out. I'll be putting out a budget template soon, and then also like brand deals. Social media is very lucrative, but not at first. If you really don't like being in front of the camera and you really don't like social media, I wouldn't join it just for the money, because you have to put a lot of upfront work, and if you don't like it, you're gonna burn out.
Yeah. And for me, I actually just looked at my finances right before I got here. I made $310,000 this year. None of it was from brand deals or social media. It was me posting on social media and then having people lead into my education programs.
Nice.
And so there's a lot of different ways that you can make money, but for me, I actually just do social media because I enjoy it and it's fun to have these conversations.
And if you like personal finance, the personal finance niche is actually the most lucrative social media niche to post in. We were just at FinCon, that's actually how we met, and people are making serious money.
Yee! We did it! The book is here! If you like my content and you want your own debt-free journey to get kickstarted, check out the book. It's Crush Your Money Goals. It is the 25 habits that I swear by that help me become a debt-free millionaire and invest enough to retire before 40. So if you want to learn more, check it out at crushyourmoneygoals.com, or you can buy it wherever books are sold. And if you like listening to audiobooks, check it out on Audible.
How much should I save for college?
If you follow my channel, Bernadette Joy, if you follow me on Instagram, in a couple of weeks, I'm having a guest talk about getting scholarships.
Nice.
And she's gotten $10 million worth of scholarships for her clients. So yes, you should save some money for college. And really, me too. It depends on what kind of college you want to go to. Obviously, going to community college versus going to an Ivy League is like very different. But so many people overlook scholarships, and there's all sorts of scholarships for like random things. There's scholarships for people who are left-handed. Seriously. Right?
I believe it. Yeah, there's scholarships for bowling, and the more niche the scholarship too, like the less competition there'll probably be. And don't think. Also, my biggest regret was not signing up for more scholarships. All I got financial aid wise was just because of my financial income from FAFSA, and I graduated with $18,000 of debt, which honestly I am okay with. But if I would have locked in and applied for scholarships, because don't think that a $200 scholarship and a $500 scholarship don't add up. If you're applying to 5 to 10 scholarships a week, you can basically guarantee that you'll get at least 5 a month. So it can sometimes be a numbers game. So I will definitely stay tuned because I have to figure that out for my sisters.
And I like went to college on scholarship, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I was able to jumpstart my financial journey. I didn't come out with undergrad with a ton of student loan debt. Here's a tip for you. If you're following anyone on social media, actually Google them and see if there's any press about them or any articles about them, because people will ask me like, oh, do you really have $1.8 million? Do you really have a business? Do you really make this much money? But what people don't realize is that I'm on CNBC, I'm CNET, I'm on Forbes, I'm like on a bunch of places that they verify and actually check. So like somebody from each of those companies looked at my finances to make sure that I wasn't lying.
How to start off living in a town that's barely hiring.
My in-laws, for example, they live in a small town in South Carolina and they're moving because there's just not a lot of stuff to do there. You can choose to stay stuck somewhere that there is an opportunity, or you can try to move elsewhere. But that being said, we are in the day and age where there is a lot of online type of stuff. And I'm saying this as someone who used to hire a lot, is that your best bet in terms of if you're just starting out or you're like new to adulting is like a customer service type of role. There's plenty of customer service roles that will allow
Upward growth in the company.
For upward growth, for remote work, and have good benefits. A lot of clients and family members who have customer service roles that all you really need is like a headset and internet access. And then there's also, like lately, there's been a ton of virtual assistant type of roles.
Somebody asked where they can find the book.
Here's the book. It's Crush Your Money Goals. You can find it on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, pretty much anywhere you buy books. We also have the Audible audiobook that took a lot of time to
Did you read it out yourself?
I read it myself. I wrote this book from the perspective of being first generation Filipino American, not really having a ton of exposure to good financial advice growing up, especially in my early career. If you are interested in specifically habits that you need to start early to be able to become wealthy later down the line, this is like the compilation of everything over the last 15 years. And it is only $18. We tried to make it super affordable so that anyone can pick it up.
Nice. What is the fastest you've seen someone move out and become financially independent?
You know what? I will say this is I've known people who have become quote unquote financially independent in their like mid-20s, because I used to work in investment banking. So I knew a ton of people who were making $400,000 as a 20-something-year-old.
Gotta get into investment banking.
But here's the caveat: is you work all the time.
So are you really independent?
Like literally, those people don't sleep. Like when I was working in investment banking, I got sick to the point where I got a kidney stone and I had to get it surgically removed. I know a lot of rich people who theoretically have enough money to be financially independent, but they're emotionally unstable and they're not very fun to be around because all they do is work. Yeah. There is an actual calculation, and I talk about it in the book, where you can calculate how much money would be enough for you to feel financially independent and still have a life and not be a jerk. You could read more about that in the book.
Nice. It really depends, because it's what your idea of financial independence is. There's a textbook, Financial Independence, Retire Early, what that actual number is, but what's your idea of a financially independent life? For me, it's working less than 20 hours a week and still being able to do what I want when I want. Like for some other people, it might be they're completely retired. What is your process for saving for vacation?
I travel a lot. I do an estimate of how much I think that vacation is going to cost me, and then I start saving it in a high-yield savings account, and I back into it depending on how far out it is. Generally speaking, I try to allocate a certain amount per day. Like if it's going to be on the more kind of bougie side, it's going to be a couple $100 a day, versus if it's going to be okay, I'm traveling really light and doing the whole digital nomad thing, which I've been doing lately, then it might be $100 or $200 a day. Then that's including lodging and food and all of that other stuff. As someone who is coaching people who want to retire early, the number one thing that everyone says when they say they're going to retire early is what? Travel. Always have a travel fund. And instead of calling it a vacation fund, call it traveling the globe, traveling the world, experiencing cultures. What I found, and we saw earlier, someone was from Sweden, is that vacation in American style vacation is, you go somewhere and you run yourself ragged somewhere else just to come back home. Literally. And then need a vacation from your vacation. So I would really encourage you to also not only think about vacation travel as in going abroad or going to other places, but like vacation meaning like where can I be in like my own city and still feel like I relaxed and I still feel like I got culture or whatever it is. So expand your idea about what a vacation even is.
When I was working and I was saving money, some of my savings would go to a sinking fund. I would not even have a trip planned out, but I had a vacation fund. So I almost always had anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 in there. And also with that, if you are somebody that does credit cards or has them and uses them responsibly, look at your points. And I would buy a lot of flights with points.
How do you get in the mindset of not being in the rat race while trying to increase your income? Oh, that's hard.
It is so hard. Here is what I would say. Mindset. Okay, I actually posted about this on Threads today. I said, believing in yourself is actually really bad advice. And I said that because I know a lot of people who are like trying to affirm and mantra their way out of financial like challenges.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to put in some work.
And honestly, like I said, basically, instead of believing in yourself, believe in habits, believe in consistency, believe in processes. And so rather than trying to like work on your mindset, go do stuff that would actually prove to yourself that you are capable.
That's what I heard from somebody too. I think I'm at that stage of, it's been almost 2 months since I quit my job and I'm not burnt out anymore. I'm like, I'm being a bum. It's time to change that because I can be like, you're going to be successful. And while I know deep down inside of me, I will be successful, what am I doing to prove to myself that I'm going to be successful? I'm showing up for this. I'm doing collaborations. I'm posting consistently on social media because it's one thing to say to yourself you're going to do this and it's one thing to believe in yourself. But again, like you have to prove to yourself. There's nobody else to prove it. Like nobody can be at my apartment. I live by myself. Nobody can sit next to me and be like, you're laying down all day. It's me. You need to like, and it's just like habit by habit. It's not about doing this one big thing once a month or once a week. It's about consistently setting up habits and processes, like you said, that prove to yourself, oh, I can and I am doing it.
Yeah.
But like sometimes you just are in the rat race. So it really depends on, are you going to be in the rat race for somebody else or for yourself?
Yeah. I mean, I would argue that being an entrepreneur sometimes feels like even more of a rat race because you don't even get a paycheck steadily necessarily for the first couple of years.
How do you work through a scarcity mindset even when you've saved up a decent amount?
Ooh, I'm still working on that.
You know what? I'm going to confess and say I'm still working on that. Like I mentioned earlier in this, I have $1.8 million of net worth, and there are some days where I'm just like, can I afford this? And yes, I can fucking afford it. But if you grew up, for me, my dad had 9 kids. I was the 8th. First generation Filipino American. We ain't got money for that. We ain't got money for that. That was just always the mentality. And one way that I have really worked on this kind of scarcity mindset for myself and then also for my clients is I actually, at my birthday every year, I don't do New Year's goals on January 1st. I do it on February 26th because that's my birthday. But I like write a letter to my future self that year of saying like, here are all the things that are going to happen this year and write it as though it's already true.
I did that this year.
Yeah.
I'm the eldest of 4, but we're like a low income, like my parents are still on food stamps. What helped me, honestly, was my first job. Like my first job out of college, it might not seem like a lot to people, but it was paying me $70K and then I ended at $83K. That was the most money I've ever touched in my life. And I was living at home, I was saving it, and still in the back of my mind, I was like, I can't afford this, I can't afford that. But sometimes you do have to treat yourself just to feel a little bit better. And then whether that be with stuff or experiences, for me, that was travel. So I traveled a lot last year and that kind of gave me some relief of, oh, I can do this. Like my bills are paid, I'm all good. So sometimes it's just a balance that you have to find. Sometimes it never really goes away truly, but you just have to continuously prove to yourself that you're good.
The people who have the worst scarcity mindset are actually the rich people. It is bizarre. I have met people who have literally tens of millions of dollars and still hustle as though they're going to go broke.
Whoa.
What I did find though, you know where I found people who had the best mindset around were like when I started taking improv classes and I started going to yoga, the yoga teachers and like the actors, it's tough and like they're like trying to make ends meet.
But life is abundant.
But they're like doing exactly what they want to do. They're enjoying their life and like they felt they had enough to go and try those things. So I really highly recommend if you're fighting scarcity mindset, like you need to really examine the people that you are immediately in contact with every day.
I agree. Like when I went to, because like now here in Charlotte, but when I went to FinCon, I would talk about an idea or I would talk about like, oh, a $10,000 month. They're like, oh yeah, cool. Instead of, but how? It's even just having someone that they don't even have to be like, yes, you can do it. Or they're just very nonchalant about the idea of what you think might be something so far out there. And they're like, oh yeah, that sounds good.
Chances are if you're fighting a scarcity mindset, it's probably because you're surrounded by scarcity mindset. Find 2 or 3 people who don't have a scarcity mindset. And hang around those people.
Yeah.
If you are ready to level up and actually start taking real action towards crushing your money goals,
check out my new book. It is Crush Your Money Goals, 25 habits that you can start today to pay off debt, to save and invest. It's all of my best secrets as a debt-free millionaire, jam-packed into one book for just $18. So you can find more at crushyourmoneygoals.com or head to Amazon, Barnes & Noble's, wherever books are sold, or better yet, check out your local bookstore.